Sarita, for joining us on our Journey of Voices. This is a special, limited edition New York episode. So thank you so much for joining us. Before we get too much into it, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Sarita? Where did you come from?
Yes, that question can't be answered in one sentence. There's always a history behind that. So I was born in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and I lived there for the better part of my life. I was born there and I moved from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia to Manchester, New Hampshire in 2002, January 2002. And, you know, growing up in the suburbs of Dartmouth, I lived a pretty Dartmouthian life, you know. We found fun wherever we went, but it's not very urban, so to speak. So one thing I did know and find out in grade 11, I had gone on a school trip through school to London, England. And I do recall calling my mother from London and saying to her, I don't think I'm coming back. And she was like, what? Like, I've tasted what life should be like for me. It was that city. You know, it wasn't just being on this school trip. It was just the vibe of the city really, like, something struck with me. So, being Canadian, like, you know, I came back and I thought that, oh, eventually I'm just going to move to Toronto because that's the big city that I know in Canada. And somehow, this turn of events, I made my way from Nova Scotia to New Hampshire to New York City. And it was definitely something that, you know, we moved here. It was just, we looked at each other and this is the right place for us to be. I love home. I love Dartmouth. My mom is still there. I grew up in a nuclear family. It was my sister and myself, and also my dad. My dad actually passed away a week before entering high school for myself in grade 10. So that was a very influential time in my life. I think it really changed actually my mother's and my relationship. You know, there's something to be said about being in, you know, junior high school, and I think every mother-daughter has this. But, you know, if my dad hadn't passed away, I don't know if this would have continued, and if this still would have continued, because after that, you know, there was definitely more camaraderie and a sisterhood between us. So it was like, you know, we're a family of all three women now, and we just had to support each other. So that was, you know, that's something that to this day, I kind of reflect back on. I'm very fortunate to have such a wonderful, strong role model in my mother. Love my father. He's a very brilliant man, and was like active in my sister's lives. But, you know, it's my mom who really is my role model for what she's done for us, for what she had. You know, she was in an arranged marriage when she was 16 years old and came to Nova Scotia not speaking any word of English. To go from where she was to where she is now today is amazing to me. That was my upbringing. You know, a couple things that probably drew me to the like urban lifestyle or city lifestyle is, you know, growing up in Nova Scotia, being a person of older color, you stand out wherever you go. You know, in elementary school, my best friend was black, and then there was one other Lebanese guy and one other black guy there, and that was the four of us. And you look back, I know it's kind of crazy. Like for square dancing, who was I? For the Lebanese guy, who was my best friend, Carrie Parking, the other black guy. It was just like, oh my goodness, these things happen, but you just live through that and don't even realize it, I think, until you start reflecting back on those things. Once you got to junior high, you know, a couple other ethnicities, but barely any. High school, a little bit more, but that's because the population just getting bigger in those schools. So I think as soon as I went to London, and London actually is such a huge Indian community too, right? So you go in there, and it's like their national food now, it's curry, like it's crazy. There's just such a large population of people who looked and talked like me and probably had the same curfew as me, stuff that you like things you're navigating. I remember being like, oh yeah, I'm the one who has to get home before everyone else because I'm the Indian girl that has these really strict rules. So, it's been this kind of, it's been navigating that and actually looking back to like what shaped me today. But I think definitely that taste of big city life was something once I got that, I knew that at some point in my life I needed to get there.
Wow. Okay. So when you talk about that nucleus, that tight-knit,
yes,
close-knit family, what was that like? Obviously you talked about leaving, getting out a little bit, exploring London, and then coming back in when you were itching to have that change. So what was that like, stepping outside of that comfort zone, especially when you have a close-knit family and it's your mom mom and your sister and everything. Like, what was that like to step outside of that? And were you following anyone suit, or were you trying to go out on your own and do that?
Yeah, it was that was coming from internally from me for sure. There was no talk of, okay, you're gonna leave, you're gonna leave the home, like, or you're gonna go away from university. I feel like how I was raised was very much, well, you're part of this family and you're gonna stay here for as long as we can keep you here. Not with any intention of like trying to ruin my life or trying to keep, but just like that's what you do. You're what any families do. You stay close to home. So I actually had to repress that for a while. When I came back from London, in my head I was like, now I'm going to go to university. Right? This is what I'm going to do. And then I kind of applied to a bunch of different places, got into some places away, some places at home, and that was kind of this, okay, what do I do now? Do I stay, do I go? And I chose to stay, more so I was like, my mom to be by herself soon. My sister was 4.5 years older than me, so she was like well into her university career and knew she was going to move after that.
Right.
So I decided to stay. At the end of the day, it's like I knew that it was there and I had to get somewhere else. It just, I pushed it off a little bit. But I ended up working in Halifax and Dartmouth for a few years after graduating, and then I got a job opportunity in New Hampshire, which wasn't the big, Manchester, New Hampshire was not a big city. I mean, you lived in New Hampshire, but it was my opportunity as I saw it as my stepping stone. Like, this is a really great job opportunity. It gets me somewhere different. Yeah, at that point I was just ready to it wasn't a big city. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get to the big city, but I need something different. And so I got to Manchester and lived there for a few years, and subsequently I moved to New York City, and that's where I've been ever since 2005.
You're talking a lot about transition.
Yes.
And the age, and you weren't sure if you were ready to step out until you took that step. And, it wasn't what you wanted right away. Going to big city, New Hampshire in general, doesn't have too many unknowns. But you spoke about kind of the long-term planning, the long focus. In terms of, getting outside of your comfort zone, what was that like? Because you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, but you weren't fully where you wanted to be. And, were you, in limbo or anything like that? But talk about what that experience was like, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone and trying to stay there.
It depends on how you define comfort zone. I think for me, comfort zone is very much, I'm comfortable with change. I'm comfortable with things evolving. So when things weren't evolving and changing, that's not my comfort zone. So I think making the shift, even though it's new and it's different, that's what actually gets me motivated and resonates with what I want to do. So I think that shift was more of my comfort zone than staying somewhere that other people think is very comfortable. And I had a very comfortable life in, as how you want to define it. I was living in downtown Halifax. I had a good job that I had to move up in Dartmouth. But to me, it was like, no, it's this. There's nothing changed with what's going to change? Oh, my gym routine changes. Oh, I eat like sushi once a week instead of twice. Those things were not enough for me. I needed the change. I needed the evolution.
And in making that change, that transition, what was the belief? What were some of your guiding beliefs in doing that? You needed to get outside of what you were used to. You needed that change. And all of the exploration and discovery that's kind of a part of that, both personally and professionally. What were some guiding beliefs that really got you through those transitional periods?
I think that a lot of my upbringing and just even in general, like my childhood, I had, there was a lot of instances in my life where I was like, why didn't I just say this, or why didn't I just do this? And I was like, knowing my personality, because I've always been pretty outspoken, and knowing that I had that, I'm not in the right place where I'm not feeling comfortable enough to show what I truly am. And once you immerse yourself in somewhere different, which isn't even like, yes, it wasn't in the city life, but a new place, it allows you to start being, I think, more true to yourself in some ways, because you don't have those restrictions, those kind of typical ideas of when you were being raised or where you're being raised, in those limitations that not necessarily everyone's setting, they're setting, but maybe then are enabling that to be set. Once you like break free of that, it's like, well, what do I have to lose? I'm in a new place, and no one really knows me here. I can be true to myself very easily.
Okay. So bringing us to here,
Yes.
SMAC, and all the signs that we have behind us, getting the Eat Out Award shortly after you open up. Can you talk about what that was like? How do you go from being in engineering to owning a restaurant?
That job was so out of the blue. My husband and I do this full time together, and two things he said he would never do in his life, apparently. I didn't know this until these two things actually, of course, happened. One was he said, I'd never get married in India. I wanted to have our wedding in India because all of our families and cousins and everyone's there. And he was like, really? We did it. And then he's like, I'm never going to own a restaurant because in university, when he was doing his master's degree, he worked in a restaurant. He was like, this business is so hard and there's like so many moving parts that it's really for what you can get out of it. So I was laughing like, that's probably because what we're ended up doing, but it really wasn't that we came into this one. We're going to open a restaurant. So we had actually quit our jobs in New Hampshire and moved to New York City because we both wanted to be in the city. So finally making that jump in the city. And we were interviewing for engineering jobs. Like it was a good climate. It was 2005. There was a lot of jobs available. And we figured, okay, we will be able to get jobs, but we had a little bit of savings, so we said, we're not going to take our jobs unless they're our dream jobs or unless we run out of money. That was like our two conditions. It's like, okay. So in the meantime, let's just enjoy New York. And we just love to eat. We love trying new places. And one thing we noticed, there's a lot of niche restaurants in the city. And we were at a place that just served like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which was so shocking at the time. And now it's like, of course, there's a place that just does that. And at it, I said to him, I was like, wouldn't it be great if there was a place that did cheese, grilled cheese, and mac and cheese? Mac and cheese, that's the next restaurant we're going to go eat at. And lo and behold, there was no just mac and cheese. There was a lot of press about mac and cheese, like which places in New York had the best mac and cheese. And it never suited everyone because it was like they only ever offered one, and it was like, okay, this one has bacon, it's so great, or this one has pork cheese, or this one's super creamy. And so we're like, users told me for this, like, we need to have a mac and cheese restaurant in New York. And that's what did it. Like, neither of us could stop talking about it, and literally 9 months later, we opened up SMAC. It was that fast. It was just believing the idea and the faith that what we didn't know, we would learn or find people who knew how to do it and help us. And it happened. I mean, we actually thought it was going to happen in 3 to 6 months. Our families were both engineers. We came from this project management background, and every restaurant owner we talked to was like, it's going to take you 2 to 3 years. Like, 2 to 3 years? Like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, he came out in 9 months. It was just also very fast when we look back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, in everything you're talking about resourcefulness. Being an engineer that gives you a different mentality, a different ability to, it changes your perspective. Being able to look at something and see all the different moving parts that you're speaking to, right? And your ability to handle that because it's part of the process. In terms of setting up a SMAC, what was going on in time to be resourceful like? Obviously, you're in a new place, in a new environment, trying something that no one else had done to this point. What was being resourceful like? How did you go about doing it?
So we're old school. Like we just basically pounded the pavement and started talking to business owners, restaurant owners, any like bodega owners, and anyone who was willing to talk to us, we would. And we felt like that's where life experience is like, that's the experience. We found that most people are willing to tell you their story because especially if they're going through it, like a lot of people who just open or have been open for a few years, like are still like living and breathing it every day. So a lot of people share information with us. I mean, there were a few that weren't interested in that, fine, but the majority of people were interested. I actually didn't think of doing that. And that was my husband who said, what's it hurt to find out about this? Every place we ate at, he would say, all right, can I talk to the owner or you the manager and have a conversation? And we actually, that's how we made like our good friends. Like that's how we met them. You know, it was like us coming in and we were like, okay, we're great. And then we would share what we wanted to open something, and we only shared an idea with a couple of people because we're also very protective of it because it was like, oh, well, no one else has done this before. But we really wanted to like get feedback, and then I think for us also was just we were in that we were in that right zone. You know, we were kind of on the alert of, okay, well, we need something. And, you know, a lot of the times, everyone has this, like, you need something. It's like, it's right in front of your face and you don't see it, right? Because you're doing this instead of doing this. Or, like, clearing your mind just to think about it a little bit longer. Like, I feel like there's been so many times in my life I've gone to bed with an issue, and then I wake up, and I'm like, all right, this is how we're going to handle it, because you cleared your mind. It's like, you know, you're not thinking about everything else that you're thinking about during the day.
So, in that, continuing to pound the pavement, continue to go out of your comfort zone and really talking to people in your community. There were a lot of things in that not everyone would do this, because again, it's challenging, it's uncomfortable, and it's not norm per se. So in terms of all those things, building your network and establishing your community, can you talk a little bit more about the importance of establishing a community?
Definitely. You know, I'm a firm believer in like community means everything. Really, wherever I've moved, wherever I've gone, that's been my personality since I was a kid. I've been very sanguine, I've been very outgoing. I feel much better when I get energized. I don't room with people as opposed to people get de-energized and they find it too much. So basically, that's kind of a strength of mine. Whereas interesting with my husband, like he's social, but in a very different way. Like if you're at a party, you can tell by the end, like he's really tired. I'm actually really willing to like go for the next 6 hours because those people have now energized me. So that whole building community kind of comes from that. That being said, yeah, it was difficult to enter or create a community that we were so new and so green, and also that we didn't necessarily fit in. Right? Way too many people trying to create a community. So we had to find the right people, and that was like the trial and error. So there's something they tried to, and their chefs would be like, you knew they were just like, what are these two bozos doing? Like, they had their engineering backgrounds and they were open a restaurant in 3 to 6 months, and it's just be different packaging. Come on, I've been in the restaurant world, I've been a chef, you know, classically trained chef for X amount of years, and this is not going to fly. So there was definitely some of that. So that's the part to knowing that as you go into this venture, are you going to have people that accept you? I actually didn't care. I was like, you know, I believe this idea so well that, and so does my husband, that we're going to make this work. Whether people in that community accept us or not, I was okay because I felt like we're going to create our own community. And that's kind of what's happened. And actually, just, you know, I'm 11 years into it, and I still kind of felt like I needed more of a community. So that even where I live down in the Lower East Side, on my, like, 3 blocks alone, there's like 7 or 8 different restaurant owners that I know. And so I basically, literally like 6 weeks ago, emailed them all. I'm like, can we start meeting once a month and just, we can do it at my apartment. It's just like, because not everyone knows each other, and we can grow it if we have to, just so that we don't feel like we're so alone in this. And literally within the next 2 hours, every person on that said yes. Like, they're like, we need this, we gotta do it. Why didn't I do this earlier? This 11 years ago, she started this thing. But it really was something else. Oh, you realize, yeah, you're alone with all these people. And some of these people have had restaurants way longer than I have. And, you know, they're very successful. And I feel like what people think on the outside is like, yeah, they're very successful. It's a struggle every day because it really is just a very dynamic business that sometimes you just feel like you're involved in. So to answer your question, yes, community is everything. And even though I feel like I'm pretty good at creating community, it did take me this long to create like even another like micro community within the restaurant community.
So with that, establishing a community, you're talking about persistence, you're talking about resilience, you touched on, and the dynamic aspect that you work with. So looking back at everything you've been through, your experience in Dartmouth, in New Hampshire, and now in New York, establishing a community, continuing to build that, what piece of advice would you give to a younger student?
One of the things is just to stay true to myself and to not question so much the validity of my thoughts, of my ideas, to act more as the person I saw myself as. Because I think that's when you're hardest on yourself, right? When you see yourself not executing like you think you should. And that would be it. Like, I think definitely as a kid I didn't I didn't lose my joie de vivre or anything too early, so that was good. I had my sense of humor, but really just having more of a confidence in who I was and allowing that to manifest.
Continuing on that, manifesting and continuing to really honor yourself and maintain your authenticity throughout, which is very difficult, whether it's dark bit or transitioning to a new place. But maybe what message would you give anyone watching this story?
I think my biggest message would be one thing that I did notice when we first opened the restaurant was I felt belief in the idea, I felt belief in the food and how much people love mac and cheese. I was so shocked, and to this day still really surprised at how it was great that they loved the food and all this, but they just resonated with the story. And it was like just like kind of leaving something behind that you've been classically trained to do it in that comfort zone and just going for it. That's kind of the takeaway. It's, great, it's mac and cheese, and we're in a restaurant, but really it's the dream that we had, and the belief that we have something and making it happen. Because everyone has ideas. Like I swear that first month that we opened, almost every second person would be like, oh, I had an idea and I really wanted to do it and I just didn't do it. And it broke my heart. I'm like, wow, there's that many people that don't follow. They believe in because they feel like they just don't have what it takes or just too much of a risk. So really it's like your inner thoughts, your inner talk is so important. So please just quiet your life so you can listen to that and follow what's really inside you. I'm Sarita Ekya, and this is my voice.